My name is Aaron Ladd, host of the Chiefs Squad Show here in the Locked On Podcast Network. The Kansas City Chiefs are trading places in 2031. We have the good, the bad, and the ugly behind the team's move to the Sunflower State coming up later in the show.
And I'm Darren Smith. Outside of the team moving, there's going to be some ugly that takes place, and it ain't the team moving that's going to take place tomorrow night.
And I'm JC Pearson. And in reference to that, there are some starters that are going on IR. So some other guys are getting an opportunity. And even though the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs or going to the Super Bowl, these backups better act like they're playing in the Super Bowl for their careers.
Chiefs Kingdom, stand up. It's the Chiefs Squad. Everything Kansas City Chiefs every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from Arrowhead Stadium, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Squad up. The Chiefs Squad Show starts now.
Santa works hard, but the Chiefs Squad Show here on Locked On Podcast Network works harder. We're here for you on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, talking some Kansas City Chiefs. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, and JC Pearson. No Ryan Tracy this episode, but today's episode is sponsored by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. We have moves and news on the field as well as off of the field around this Kansas City Chiefs organization. None bigger than the team announcing their next move across the state line, and the details behind that. We'll break that down as well as give our thoughts, as well as maybe some memories around Arrowhead Stadium, the oldest stadium in the AFC. Kansas City has some Pro Bowlers in 2025. It's a game they haven't played in quite some time. We'll talk about that game as well, which is new on the schedule for KC, as well as preview the late game on Christmas Day against the Denver Broncos as they push for the AFC 1 seed. We cannot go any further without thanking you all, the audience, the listeners here on Christmas Eve. We appreciate you everydayers who tap in for every episode of every Locked On show, as well as those who have left comments, likes, subscriptions, all that stuff. We see the numbers jumping up, and we appreciate y'all being part of the show. We will talk about that as the show continues. Let's just get straight into it. It is the Chiefs announcing their next move to the Kansas side. This is Clark Hunt giving this quote that I'm about to read. Today, we are excited to take another momentum step towards the future of the franchise. We have entered into an agreement with the state of Kansas to host Chiefs football beginning in the 2031 NFL season. In the years ahead, we look forward to designing and building a state-of-the-art dome stadium and mixed-use district in Wyandotte County, and a best-in-class training facility, team headquarters, and mixed-use district in Olathe, totaling a minimum of $4 billion of development in the state of Kansas. I will give more information. Y'all know the top line. Let's just get straight to our panels and our expert. Let's start with you, JC Pearson. You played at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs obviously have called Arrowhead Stadium home for a very long time, and this debate has gone on for a very long time. Where are you at? Where's your mindset with this announcement coming this week?
Well, it's a little bittersweet, of course, but needed, because the stadium does need a lot of work. And, let's be honest, if they, renovated that stadium again, they'd be facing this again, 10, 20 years down the line. So, it's going to work out. Change is tough for some people, but, I think with the drawings and the renderings that I saw of what they're going to do over with the new stadium, have a dome on it, have a new practice facility in Olathe. I think it's going to be good for the organization, not good for the city of Kansas City and Missouri, but that they kind of fumble that bag again.
Darren, what you think? I can give a little bit behind fumbled the bag. JC said fumbled the bag. And if you remember, Kansas City, Missouri had a extension of the 3A sales tax that voters there voted against, which sent both teams, the Chiefs and the Royals, who are a part of this conversation, back to the drawing board. Where do you stand as far as Kansas versus Missouri, though? Because I know you're a Missouri guy. Well,
let's be clear. So we are a lot of times laugh, joke, and stuff, but this is a very serious situation about what is taking place, because there are ramifications to it. So, being serious as it relates to this, I'm uneasy about it. I mean, for someone like, I guess, myself in the field that I'm in, it's not really going to affect me much, because it's just a drive in the other direction for me. And, I'm not going to be paying for for a seat or paying for parking or anything like that. So for me individually, yeah, that it is what it is. It's just a new build. When it comes to fumbling the bag, that is true. And the thing is, it's interesting. So for full disclosure, I sent Mark Donovan a text on, I think yesterday or when the announcement was made. I think it was Tuesday or Monday. I guess it was today, Wednesday. So Monday after the press conference stuff, and I sent him a text because what a lot of people don't know is, yes, I do a lot of sports, but I also spent half my life in politics as well. So I mean, I've ran political campaigns. I ran a congressional campaign in Louisiana. I've ran Jackson County executive campaign. So I've done a lot.
He's a man of many talents, JC.
I guess so, but evidently he didn't win them because he's with us, right? Nah, I'm kidding.
No, actually, no. The one I didn't win was the congressional one because it was in Louisiana where nobody won in that particular race. But be that as it may, I text Donovan. I told him, I said, when he runs for office, I hope no one ever underestimates him because he was brilliant in a display of masterclass of politics. Because to be able to have the Chiefs and the Royals on the ballot, knowing that obviously the Royals weren't as successful as the Chiefs, but putting that on the ballot and really the messaging. The problem was there was never any clear messaging from the Chiefs and the Royals and that side versus Frank White's side and the other people, because they kept telling everybody that it was a new tax, and the other side never put it out there. Well, no, you're already paying on this tax. You've been paying for the last 40 years. It's just an extension. So you haven't felt the brunt of it for these last 40 years, and you're not going to feel the brunt of it for the next 40 years. You're also not going to feel the benefit if you vote against it. I say, because you will feel the detriment, because what they did not, and again, I don't know who's all at fault, but the communication was horrible. There is going to be a match at a minimum $50 million yearly in revenue that you're going to have to make up, because without the 10 games that would be there, of course the concerts and stuff that they would have there. I mean, and then of course the teams that the teams and the players that come into Jackson County proper, they get taxed for the athlete type. It's called the athlete tax or the Jordan tax or something like that. It's called, that is revenue and the loss of jobs. And I've been out to Oakland, myself and my guy Steve Walls. The last time the Raiders played in Oakland, we were out there for that game. Oakland City does not have a basketball team, not have a football team, no longer has a baseball team.
It's a big loss for the state of Missouri, and I think ultimately they had their first crack at it, and they messed up that crack. And Kansas now swoops in with the Star Bonds, which we're supposed to, I believe, run out at the 31st, and they're supposedly covering 60% of this project, $4 billion. The Chiefs also say the Dome Stadium will allow them to host a Super Bowl and other events like a men's Final Four, which KC has hosted 10 times in the past. Yes, I think, Missouri fumbled a bit. That's one part of the story. Are we surprised that the Chiefs were so quick to say, all right, let's go to the Kansas side and let's just fully go Dome? Let's ignore kind of the history of what Arrowhead had been to this point. Are you surprised by that, either of you guys?
I'm not, because the last vote, I forget how many years ago it was, Darren. Not that. Roof. Yeah, the on the agenda was to put a roof over Arrowhead, and we were actually guaranteed a Super Bowl if that passed, and it didn't pass, obviously. But and
it was going to so the audience understand, it was going to be a rolling roof that was going to be able to roll from Arrowhead over to Kaufman for inclement weather and stuff. But the roof was going to be able to come down and sort of like a dome, when it came over Arrowhead.
And they didn't vote for that tax, and so I'm not surprised that now, with all the money that Kansas was offering and giving the Hunt family, I wasn't surprised at all, because even if they renovated Arrowhead, they still were going to have to put in a bunch of their own money, whereas Kansas structured it where I mean, they'd be crazy not to take that deal.
Yeah, but the flip side is that the voters are still going to get screwed because they technically have not even approved some of the money, some of the taxes is going to have to go in place because it's not the entire state of Kansas or whatever, or Kansas City. That, you've got Wyandotte County, you got a portion. I think you got all of Wyandotte County and a portion of Johnson County. That's that they have to pass like a liquor tax and some other stuff that they that those city council people have to pass that they have not done just yet, and so that's a lot of money that's going to be taxed. And again, it was supposed to be from those star bonds, but at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to to Joe and Jill and Johnny or whatever that's going to end up getting affected because they're going to end up paying a tax on that.
Kansas was, Johnny on the spot. When the 3A sales tax doesn't go through, they say, hey, this is our opportunity to get all our ducks in a row. I think the thing that I'm really more surprised by, and maybe this is, what voters didn't really calculate when they rejected it, is that, the Chiefs weren't bluffing. Even though they had only played in Missouri, they played only in Missouri, my goodness, since 1963. If you count Municipal Stadium and then Arrowhead. I think a lot of the voters thought, y'all not leaving. Even if y'all do leave the Arrowhead site and East KC Mo, y'all are going to find somewhere in downtown, or y'all going to find somewhere else to kind of stick it on our side. No, the Chiefs, which, we're talking about one of the most traditional organizations in all the National Football League, down to the uniforms, down to their dad having the apartment in the stadium. This is the Chiefs and Arrowhead have been simpatico for so long, through the dark days, now into when they're on top and can be able to throw their leverage around a little bit more. Color me a little surprised, not that they went the dome route, because I think the dome is just a no-brainer considering what the climate is and what you want the offense to be with Patrick Mahomes and beyond. I'm a little surprised that they just buck tradition and say, you know what, we're going to go completely over the state line just based off the money.
Nah, look, I won't say this. Here's the thing, because the stadium's going to be, I guess, near the Legends, it's still in Kansas City proper. It's Kansas City, Kansas. They'll still be known as the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not like they're moving from Kansas City to St. Louis or from Kansas City to San Antonio
Topeka or Wichita or whatever. It's still the metro area, still considered the metro.
Yeah, and it's just it's change is hard. Look, at the end of the day, while I don't like it, I cannot be upset at Clark. Clark Hunt is a billionaire looking for a handout, and he found a sucker to give it to him. Because look, there are two owners in the NFL right now, Stan Kroenke, who paid out of his pocket to have SoFi Stadium built, and of course the new owners of the Denver Broncos, they're building their new stadium all with his own money, and he's still partnering with the city. So now the problem that I have is, of course, Clark and his family is worth $26 billion, and but again, politically, I understand what he did, why he did, and because if you put it towards the ballot, regardless, because I think other teams have done that and it's failed, but they used the threat of leaving. Look at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's getting a new stadium, and they had to make a deal with
the Bears are doing something similar as well.
Yeah, with the city council down there, and who else did you say, Aaron?
The Bears, Chicago Bears are talking about moving to Indiana potentially.
Yeah, and Nashville. Nashville had to get money from the state. Cleveland, the owner in Cleveland got $600 million from the state. Now he couldn't get money from the other places because they voted it down, but he got money from the state, and he's worth about $10 billion. What I have a problem with it, they can afford to buy the stuff themselves, but as much as these owners and these owners who are doing this stuff are all Republicans, so take that what you will, make of it what you will. They don't like handouts when it comes to the 99% of us, but when it comes to handouts for them, they line up for it.
Final thoughts, JC, before we go to break.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I saw a list of all of the professional teams that the state of Missouri has lost, and it was pretty eye-opening. When you go from St. Louis with the Cardinals and then the Rams, and I mean, there was a bunch. I can't remember all of them, but then you look at
Kansas City, just Kansas City
yeah,
itself with the
you know,
Kings.
the Kings, the Sacramento Kings, and you know, there was a list of a bunch of professional teams that I think there was a hockey team in there that the state of Missouri has lost, and so you know, I think more of the blame goes on the state or whomever. You know, I know Frank has gotten a lot of you know, and I don't know all the political stuff,
Deservedly so. Well,
yeah, but whatever,
so
you know, bottom line, they messed it up again, and now the Chiefs are going to the Kansas side.
quickly before, because I know we got to go to break. Quick, the blame does lie with Frank and even with Mayor Lucas, and I'm not going to let him go unscathed because this happened on his watch. And as I mentioned on television this week, this is going to be a political death knell, and he should hope that the Royals don't announce to move out of the metro area and go to Clay or go across the state line. And the reason why I say Frank is to blame because Frank made it personal with the Royals, and of course, you know, and that muddied a lot of the messaging when it came time for voters to put stuff up. Because initially, the Royals were going to build a stadium in East Village in the urban core. You know, I mean, off of 23rd by the highway, there was land over there that Congressman Cleaver had money set aside for that was going to help. That was going to help with that with the building of that stuff. But then the mayor got involved and it messed a lot of stuff up. So I'm going to just say this now: the Chiefs were not happy with the mayor getting involved because he had no skin in the game. But
plenty more stadium talk on the other side. It's time for our first break here on the Chiefs Squad Show. When we come back, what happens with the east side of KC Mo now that the Chiefs are headed over the state line? We discussed that and much more. Stick with us. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least two player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere PrizePicks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. The new Stacks feature is a game changer. You can now pick more on Steph's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot feature saves my lineup from a loss. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Back in on the Chief Squad Show in the midweek, Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, and JC Pearson recapping what was an eventful week for the Chiefs off the field. Darren, I want to just get on your back about two of these things. I agree with you exactly on what you said. I think the Chiefs and the Royals trying to do this proposal where they were both together and also pitch it to voters where, hey, give us the money. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like just yet. We might go over here. We might go over here. The Chiefs might go over here, but just trust us, just vote yes, and we'll do what's right for it. I think that gave voters a little bit of uneasy about voting for the extension of the 3A sales tax. I think that was completely mismanaged. And I also want to say, I feel like for the Missouri side, to your point, JC, about the whole state being involved, Jeff City needed to have been involved on that from the very jump. It seemed like they got in the game way too late when they realized that it wasn't going well, and then after the fact, we're like, "Well, we want to."
I got to stop you, Aaron, because here's the thing: it was a county issue because the county is the government.
Well, it's a state issue now. The team is gone.
No. I mean, it's too late now. But what I'm again, Mayor Lucas got involved, and the city has nothing to do with with the stadium and stuff. I'm saying. It came down. Well, first of all, one of the biggest misnomers was that it essentially came out of nowhere. Because like you said, because agreements between the teams and the community and stuff like that there was never anything signed up. It was just a lot of verbiage and what they talked about agreeing to, but nothing was ever put on paper. And the legislature out of nowhere, saying put this, voted on and put it on the ballot, where you only had, I think you had less than 8 weeks or maybe 4 weeks before the election. Like, it's where you put this on the ballot. So there was not enough time to organize a real campaign. Now, it's easy to campaign against something versus for, because all you got to do is say no and sprout whatever you want to sprout. I mean, because again, they said that it was a new tax when it wasn't a new tax. I mean, that right there convolutes the messaging and it gets people confused, because you're thinking it's a new tax on top of what you're paying to give, to give to these owners for a new ballpark, and there's no agreements, because you don't know where the Royal Stadium is going to be built at, and then
Darren, did you vote on this?
The problem.
Yeah, JC, you go.
I think the problem was that, like you said, that nothing was clear, and with that vote, the Chiefs jumped in at the end like they were, pretty arrogant. Like, hey, if we get in or when we get in, the people are going to vote for it no matter what, because hey, we're the Chiefs and we're been to this many Super Bowls.
And he tried to get Patrick and Andy and all of them involved at the very last minute with commercials.
Yeah, and it didn't work. Nothing was clear, and and the majority of the people, don't go to the Chiefs games anyway, really. And so they're like, what are we voting for and why? And I think they came in. It was very arrogant the way that they just jumped in and didn't explain everything in their side, and people just didn't go for it.
And again, I think another piece of this pie, spinning it forward, is the crowd going to change? Arrowhead is known for one of the best home environments, and not just the outside in the cold months, but also, the crowd being bought in. Loudest stadium in the world.
There's a lot of people right now, they couldn't afford to go to the games as it is.
When the team's doing well, absolutely. The team has priced out a lot of their good fans, and the fan base has changed. I've heard that a lot while being in KC, that as the team got more successful, the crowds were a little different. They looked differently. They didn't necessarily get up the same way some of the older crowds did. How is this going to impact what Sundays look like in Kansas City?
Well, first of all, it's not going to on Kansas. Kansas is going to look good. Kansas, Missouri, they ain't going to look so good. Look, and let me tell you, another thing, the players were kind of moving differently too, with the success. Look, JC knows this, back when JC was playing, I mean, you saw a lot of those players in JC in that era mixing in with the urban core. Like, you can find JC and other players at Niecy's, whether it was a nightclub or the restaurant. I mean, come on out, JC. You know this.
Yeah.
You can't, literally, there was an article I think online for the Kansas City Star that Pat Clark was talking about. That he had to pull teeth to get Rashee Rice. Well, because he had to go through William Lanier to bring some of the wide receivers over to the East of Truth. Just to hold a camp. And I'll say this: one of the reasons why they moved it over to Kansas, because that's where when they draft players and sign players, they make most of them live over in Overland Park and Johnson County and Olathe. So you talk about the practice facility is going to be out there. That's where most of the players are. So when it's inclement weather, they don't have far to they don't have to drive far to get to the practice facility. And then the game, of course, it'll be close enough for them to be able to drive there. And of course, Kansas being flat, you don't have to worry about a whole lot of hills or whatever. It's smooth driving over there. So there's a lot of things that when that stadium is built, the stadium, even when it gets built, it's going to price out the everyday man, just like, and people don't understand. Like in Cleveland is one of the poorest cities in the country, and they're going to be building a $3 billion stadium up there, and the dog pound and all those type of people are not going to be able to afford those seats, the PSLs and all that stuff. Trust me, there will be a sticker shock when it comes to those PSLs in this new stadium as we get closer to it 5 years from now.
Do we have renderings for this new stadium yet? Do we even know what it's going to look like?
No, because I know
all the ones that I've seen kind of floating around are just poses.
So that was a concept that someone put together, but Clark and them said that they're going to within the next few months hire a firm to put saying to come up with some drawings to give them some options. But there's nothing official as it relates to what the stadium is going to look like.
That's lame to me.
No,
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah.
I don't know how you announce a $4 billion deal and don't show us what you're going to do the $4 billion with.
Hold on.
Come on.
He secured. Hold on. All he had to do was secure the bag. Everything else, will follow.
Everything else going to fall in line.
Yeah. But I mean, they gave them such a sweet deal where they own the land and whatever entities they put on the land, they get 100% of the revenue from it. I mean, the deal is crazy, and I really don't know how. I mean, Kansas is going to benefit just from all the revenue, the people coming in and that kind of stuff. But the Chiefs are the ones that are going to make out, or the Hunt family, because they get 100% of ticket sales. They get 100% of concessions, parking. It's a crazy deal. And the rent that they pay, they can use portions of that rent to build more stuff on the stadium, renovate the stadium, build offices. So in essence, the rent that they're paying, they can use that to build more stuff for themselves, to generate more revenue. So really, they're not paying any rent. It's crazy.
And one of the things Clark talked about was the partnership. Bruh, there's no partnership. You got customers. You
held the gun over the bag and said, "Put the money in there." That ain't no relationship.
And look, man, because I understand stuff, I can't be mad at Clark. Clark is doing what and people mad at Mark Donovan. Look, man, Mark Donovan works for the Chiefs. He's loyal to Clark Hunt and the people who pay his check, which is Clark Hunt. His job is to get the best deal for the Chiefs, not for Kansas City, not for Kansas, not for Jackson County, not for Raytown, for the Chiefs. He did his job to a T. Like it, don't like it, that's what it is. And so when people are upset, again, I always say billionaires will essentially get what they want, like the Royals owner Sherman. He's going to get what he wants. Look, hold on. Now Sherman can put the threat of the Chiefs of the Royals going over there. And because Mayor Lucas, somebody asked him, well, what's going to happen to the Chiefs? They're going to be in downtown Kansas City. I'm like, man, dude, be quiet. Until I'm sorry.
Nah, let's spin it a little bit forward. No, JC, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, people are complaining, and change is tough, no doubt. But what the Chiefs have to do is put a great product on the field initially. Winning cures a lot of the ails of the customers and the fans. So, if they come out and they have
prices.
And they have a season like they have in this year, there's going to be a lot of, we should have stayed, blah, blah, blah. But if they come out and they're winning, they go to the playoffs and, they're back to AFC championships and Super Bowls, not going to hear anything about it. People are going to love it. And it's going to be business as usual for the organization.
Everybody knows, or some people may know, I'm a Falcons fan. They went through this. They left the Georgia Dome, which was their old venue, got a new state-of-the-art facility that has hosted college football playoffs, going to be multiple Super Bowls. What I've always said to fans at Arrowhead as this whole thing is going on is cherish what you have while you have it, because as more teams try to push for these new stadiums, you lose some of that character and soul. It's nice to have all the frills and be state-of-the-art. I've been to SoFi, I've been to Levi, I've been to Mercedes-Benz. Like, I've been to some of these state-of-the-art facilities before. You can't recreate some of the things that Arrowhead has. And obviously we have from now until 2031 to embrace that. I titled it Arrowhead Memories. Do y'all have favorite memories from Arrowhead on the way out of this segment? I would definitely say that.
Let's combine it, because trust me, the 2025 Pro Bowlers ain't gonna take that long to talk about. So let's combine the Arrowhead memories and Pro Bowls in the next thing, because I want to say, to your point about the stadiums, Mercedes-Benz. You got to remember though, Atlanta has the largest airport in the world. So it's different. So I'm saying so, like them, LA, Vegas, those are destination cities. So so that's the main reason why they get a lot of that good stuff. Indianapolis gets a lot of Final Fours from time to time, because you can get in and out, and the location and the hotels and stuff. So there are reasons why certain cities like New Orleans always gets the Super Bowl, weather and stuff like that. So so there are reasons why why those places do what they do, and why they get what they get. So again, the Chiefs, if and when the stadium is good, will be awarded one Super Bowl. That's it, just one, and they better make the best of it because don't forget when the stadium in New York got built, they had that one Super Bowl. They ain't been back there since, as well as Minnesota. I guess so.
We'll take a break here and come back on the other side. Chief Squad Show here in the Locked On Podcast Network. All right, Darren, you the host now. JC is.
I see, man. I don't hear like, okay, Darren, you just take it over the show.
I had to grab my charger, man. Come on, man.
We're talking stadium. We're also talking Chiefs Pro Bowlers. The Chiefs Pro Bowlers is not going to take long. Now let's continue the stadium talk, Darren. So not just the Super Bowl, because I agree with you. They get one Super Bowl out of this. I was talking about with a friend because this KC thing is just ever present now. Think about the concerts now. You know, concerts and artists who necessarily wouldn't come through KC because it was Arrowhead was your only option, and you can't do Arrowhead from like August through January. That opens you up a little bit more. The Final Fours, that opens you up a little bit more. It's not just the Super Bowl. You mentioned the Super Bowl going to New York. Well, they got the World Cup final this year too. If you want to be a World Cup city beyond, so like.
That's also the summer too.
If you want to elevate as a city, which we all think Kansas City is doing and continuing to do, this needed to be done. I think the part of it that makes me a little sad is that it's not going to be in the Missouri side. And that is, word to your point, I asked you about this earlier, I voted yes as well, because I thought there was a special charm to the teams being right next to each other. You know, in Atlanta, the Falcons are here and the Braves are 30 minutes away and the Hawks are 20 minutes away. You know, it's something special about your teams being right next door to each other and those rare occasions where they have games on the same day.
Hold on. Wait a second. In Atlanta, they're right next door to each other. I've been to Atlanta.
The Hawks and the Falcons are. The Braves moved away. The Braves moved away and did the mixed use thing. I also wonder what's going to happen to the east side now. I mentioned this earlier. Nobody really touched it, but what happens to those facilities now? I always thought that another scenario could be somebody build on top of the other site. Hey, if the Royals leave, the Royals can just open like a Mahomes district next door where it's got the bars and the hotel and you attract people to stay. It just seems like there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, that was one of the problems also is that, you know, other than the stadiums, what else are you doing out there? There's really no nice hotels. There's really no
hotels and retail out there, and they never did it.
It never did it. And, you know, so when you're driving out there or say you're coming in from out of town or visiting or, you know, coming to the game, I mean, where you got to stay way downtown away from the stadium anyway. You go to the stadium, that's all you're doing. You're not doing anything else over there. You're not spending any money at restaurants or anything whereas, you know, they should have developed that whole area down there and made it like an entertainment district and a destination, which they are talking about doing now out by the Legends. So, you know, there was a whole lot more than just the stadium renovation that was needed in that area.
What I would have preferred, and, you know, Steve and I, we used to talk about it, like, it would have been nice if the Royals could have, you know, if it could have passed Royals get to downtown stadium, and then the Chiefs, of course, tear down the Royals thing. But the thing is that the Chiefs will still need a place to stay because you have to deal with the whole park situation. Because you tear down Royal Stadium, and, you know, you got to get all that cleared out, and then perhaps try to build a dome stadium there next door to it, kind of like what these other teams are doing, Buffalo, stuff like that. But the thing is, there's nothing that, you know, where the stadium is in Buffalo, there was nothing next to it. So they had all that land where they literally build the stadium right there next door to it, where you can go touch it here and touch it there, just like you can do in Nashville. So they had the land and stuff like that, but there was nothing else there with it. You know, it would have been difficult for the Chiefs to build a dome next to Arrowhead Stadium and move over there, because you would have had to tear down Kaufman and get all that cleared out, you know, and so you just couldn't do it. So, but to your point, I think the East Side, I think it'll be fine, but the problem is they're gonna have to raise the taxes to generate the revenue back out there, because nobody's invested in it after 50-some years. I can't see why they would do it now.
Let's brighten the mood a little bit.
Arrowhead
What
memories.
Arrowhead memories do we have? Do we have any favorite Arrowhead memories,
Got a few
JC? I
of
feel
them.
like this is for you,
Of
man.
course. Yeah, of course, man. I remember, when I first got to the Chiefs, I mean, we were bad. And, the Makovic, the Gans era, 4 and 12, and, more people, you couldn't give away tickets. And, we'd run out and there'd be more signs for the visiting team than us, really. And I mean, you could hear, standing on the sideline, you can hear the quarterbacks call the cadence. It was so crazy and quiet in there. But then I was also part of the change when Marty and those guys came in and completely turned this organization around, and really the building blocks of what it is now. And I'll tell you, man, the biggest and best memory was that 1991 Buffalo Bills Monday night game. That's when they were in the midst of their big run, and they came in here on a Monday night, and man, that stadium was electric, man. It was, I mean, honestly, when people talk about coming out in a stadium being electric, you're like, man, what is that? But there was really a different feel, a buzz in that stadium that you can't even imagine. And obviously we went on and blew those guys out, which
also
was
that Broncos game, with John Elway on the
yeah.
goal line trying to, and you get penalized.
And he
God.
kept backing up because he couldn't hear, and did it like 3 or 4 times, and then the refs were going to penalize us because if the crowd didn't quiet down. So
and the crowd got louder.
Yeah, it was crazy, but that was seeing the start of where they are now, kind of, and being a part of that, man, it is crazy because we've seen the bad and obviously seen the good, and hopefully they construct this new stadium so that the noise will somewhat stay in the stadium, and continue to have that advantage. But it's crazy.
I'll say this, man, for myself, look, I remember the good and the bad. And, I'll say this. I remember the bad when, they had the incident, I think, when Romeo Cornell was the head coach here. And, we had the incident literally the day before the game with Javon Belcher in that situation. And, of course, and then at that time I was taking pictures at the game. So I'm on the sideline and stuff. And so, they end up hosting the Green Bay Packers, who came in undefeated at 13-0, and with what happened yesterday, solemn prayer, everything like that, and then the Chiefs win the season, I think, at 2-14. That was I think the second game that they had won, and they knocked off an undefeated Green Bay Packers team. I had taking pictures midfield or whatever. Gave the head coach, gave Cremel that photo stuff afterwards. But for me, I think one of the best moments would literally have to be in the AFC Championship game, because the Chiefs, I can't remember if they were initially down in that game, I think, against Tennessee. They were down 10-0. And it was when Mahomes, of course, ran around, scampered, and got the touchdown. But not even that. It was the moment that the Chiefs took the lead. And you could just feel, saying the elevation of the crowd, knowing that, oh hell, we are about to go to the Super Bowl after 50 plus years, and just as it was building up or whatever, then you get, of course, to the end of the game, and where they won to get their first trip to the Super Bowl in 50 years. I think that that was special because of what took place the year before, the AFC Championship game with Dee Ford jumping off sides, and then then of course being able to finally get over that hump, so to speak, and going to the Super Bowl, and then of course winning it. So.
Man, good job. You got Aaron tearing up over there, man. You see him wiping his tears, man.
Oh,
yeah. He
wasn't getting it down in Atlanta.
Yeah,
man.
Another memory, man. A good one was 9/11. That first game back when the Giants were in town, man. That was big too. So some big moments. Not to mention Darren, Michael Jackson, the Victory Tour, and all that coming in. But
the first leg, 1988.
There you go.
Arrowhead was the first leg in this world tour, which again, I'm trying to figure out how Arrowhead got, you know what I'm saying, was able to pull that off. But that's true.
I was going to go outside of the Chiefs as well. I saw Messi for the first time play Sporting at Arrowhead.
Well, moved the game. You and I were there. Yeah, you and I were there.
And I think my favorite Chiefs memory at Arrowhead, a couple of the AFC title games, but it was actually that wild card weekend game in 2024 against the Dolphins, where it was like -degree wind chill. And, that was the first Chiefs game I had seen at Arrowhead that wasn't sold out because of the weather. People weren't going. They were staying inside.
Hey, JC, but what he ain't saying is that he and I were very warm in that press box.
I was bundled up.
And you wonder why it wasn't sold out. You weren't out there. Why get out there and support him?
Come on, man. I got some pictures of me out there. I had a ski mask and gloves on, but I promise you I was out there. Let's talk a little ball now. We've done 40 minutes of stadium talk. We'll do some more stadium talk, I'm sure, as the details continue to come out ahead of 2031. Some Pro Bowlers for Kansas City. 4 Chiefs named to the 2026 Pro Bowl games. Creed Humphrey, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, and Trey Smith. 3 alternates as well. Trent McDuffie, Nick Bolton, Patrick Mahomes, and also some news around that. We know Patrick Mahomes is on injured reserve. Now Trent McDuffie joins him, as well as some other members. I believe it was Jalen Watson, Tyquan Thornton,
Rasheed Rice.
Some of the names, Rasheed Rice. Nothing left to play for, so that doesn't really surprise me. But JC, you said something in the chat. You said, are all these guys rewarding of being Pro Bowlers in 2026? That's interesting.
Yeah, a good conversation, good topic, right? I mean, because we talked about it. Obviously all our conversations about Trav, are his skills declining, is this and that, and he gets named to the Pro Bowl again. And I definitI feel like
I think he was a top vote getter too.
Yeah, he was
top fan vote. Yeah,
fan vote. But I think he's definitely worthy and capable. We've been comparing him to himself, to a prime Trav, and there's only a few of those. But and then Trey's been hurt, missed a lot of time, and then Chris has been up and down. We know that. He knows. He's acknowledged that. So it was pretty interesting to see that that those guys got named, and I think that's a good topic. What do you guys think?
I'll be honest. I mean, if
I know where this is going. Come on, man.
Well, first of all, let me speak. If Mahomes doesn't get hurt, I think Travis Kelce gets 1,000 yards receiving, and so I think based off of that or where he was headed, I feel he would have been worth it. Now for me, it's all about wins and losses, so I don't think the wins kind of justify you being selected. But the fans have a portion of the vote. I would say he would deserve it, and I say Creed Humphrey. The other players that are quote unquote starting, Chris Jones, no. Trey Smith, no, because his play doesn't dictate that he should be a starter. I mean, Chris Jones, Myles Garrett. I mean, come on now. Chris Jones, old boy from Max Crosby.
I think Daniil Hunter got snubbed as well.
Yeah. So no, and then no. I mean, he's got 4. Chris Jones has 4 sacks.
So who was the other defensive tackle that made it? Chris and who that are starters?
That's a great question.
I'm pretty sure somebody has the list. I don't.
Right.
But I don't think he earned it.
Well,
no. I don't think he deserved it. So, because
you do or you don't.
I do not.
Well, you just said too that you base it off wins and losses. Then you throw Myles Garrett out there. They've got
Myles Garrett's about to break the record too. So they, and his stats back it up.
But they ain't winning no games.
Well,
according to the Chiefs have won more than now.
Okay.
The defensive tackles are Chris Jones, Jeff Simmons, and Zach Allen.
Zach Allen. Oh,
wow.
I can't remember who he played for.
Yeah. So Myles Garrett didn't. What do you mean, Myles Garrett? Where's he at? What do you mean?
Myles Garrett is a defensive end.
He's a DN.
Right. Okay.
And it's Will Anderson Jr., Myles Garrett, and Max Crosby.
Yeah, see, Will
Okay.
Anderson is a starter.
Can't really argue with the Daniil Hunter there. I mean, whose spot is he going to take? Right?
Chris Jones.
No, but Daniil Hunter's a defensive end though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Daniil Hunter's a defensive end. Yeah. So I don't know what are the defensive tackles, but the other thing with that, obviously the fans are a third of the vote, but
But
you don't
also
know.
reputation as well. Reputation and
Oh yeah,
just year
it's
in and year
always
out.
it's always been a factor in the Pro Bowl, no doubt. And you really don't know when teams are game planning and preparing how much they are gearing towards stopping Chris and saying, hey, let's make sure we block this guy because the other guys aren't much of a threat. But if we block him, which could, obviously deter his numbers, but, so you really don't know all of that either. But obviously he still has a lot of respect around the league because, he's been voted a starter.
And let me jump and say this because I know where Aaron be trying to take this from time to time. I don't want people get the misunderstanding that and make it seem like I don't like Chris. I am a fair and objective person, and so I can be a butthole, but at least I'm fair and objective about it because I value my credibility. Chris Jones is not having a good year, and you have to be objective to be able to call that out to his face. And
I don't know if any of these players are having a great year. To be honest,
no, I know, I get no, but I'm saying, but look, no, but what I'm saying is that JC as a straight up question, saying is he deserving of it? I don't feel that he is, and I've given my reason why. And because again, they hold themselves to just as high a standard as we should. Because year in and year out, it's been championship football or whatever, and Chris Jones has talked about wanting to be a defensive player of the year. Well, your play has to dictate it, and so I'm just saying. So if I'm going to hold you, if you want to be up there at that level, that's what I have to judge you off of. And that's so.
Do we think any of these guys will actually play in the Pro Bowl as we wrap up this segment here?
Maybe Creed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Trav will probably show up. It's flag football now, so it's
but I don't think you do because well, here's the thing, I don't think it'll happen only because now when it was in Vegas, I can't remember who showed up in Vegas. The Super Bowl was in LA. I know we drove to Vegas to cover the Pro Bowl, and I think it might have been a couple of players up there, but for the most part, I don't see them going to San Francisco to do it. One, because it's not going to be in a small setting. It's not like it's going to be in the stadium or anything like that. And then also, they're not going to want the stench of not making it to the playoffs, even being in the Super Bowl, and them showing up. So I mean, but a lot of our players are going to be injured anyway. So why go?
One final break here on the Chiefs Squad show on the Locked On Podcast Network. When we come back, we discuss the Christmas matchup between Denver and Kansas City. Stick with us.
Do we have to?
Final segment in the midweek. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, JC Pearson. Hope you're having a happy holiday surrounded by friends and family. Kansas City has 2 more regular season games on the schedule. One of them is the nightcap on Christmas, Chiefs versus Broncos, Kansas City at home. I hadn't looked at the line yet. Darren, what is it?
Minus 13.5, man. Come on. I know.
At home.
I can't even afford to bet on that game because it's not going to be worth it. If I do on that game, I'm betting the under. Under for the quarterback, depending on what the passing and stuff. I'm betting under. You know what? I'm glad. I am gonna put a slip in with the unders.
That didn't take much.
Come to think of it,
come to think of it. Yeah, let me make some easy money right quick.
Yeah.
JC, what are you looking for in this one, man? I mean, it's backups, a lot of guys on IR. The Broncos obviously playing for something. They're trying to push for that 1 seed in the AFC. Still trying to lock down everything. What are you looking for in this one?
And coming off of a loss last week. So the Broncos are going to come in, guns a-blazing. And, for us, the Chiefs, playing with a lot of backups, both corners out, both starting corners on injured reserve. The Broncos should have their way with us if we're honest. They should have their way with us. What it is now for these guys is an audition for our guys and these young guys. Even though we're not in the playoffs, even though we're not going to the Super Bowl, they need to feel like this is a Super Bowl for them, because they may, who knows how many more opportunities they're going to get. Oladokin, the worst thing for a backup quarterback is to have to go in the game and play, because now, you're going to prove if you can play or not. So, he's had a few days to digest the fact that he's starting this game, and we're going to see if he can perform a little bit better. But I don't really expect a whole lot, especially against the Broncos defense. I mean, come on, they are going to come at. They're going to come after this young man, from start to finish. That's what they do anyway. So they're going to come after him. Yeah,
JC, just a little pushback, because we kind of talked about it last week against Tennessee. I mean, this is also an audition for Matt Nagy and Spagnuolo, because there were reports, of course, that came out that he did not sign an extension last year. So this is, he's got 2 games left, and then maybe he'll either sign an extension if offered, or try to be a head coach someplace else. And so now he was coy about it dealing with the media, but again, we talked about it last week, how the Titans were one of those teams. And I'm like, and again, to me now, follow me now. This is just me, Aaron, and me, JC. Anybody looking for a head coach out there cannot have looked at that game and said, you know what, I need that on my squad. Because that performance last week for the Chiefs, there's nothing about that if me as the NFL owners be like, I gotta have that guy running my team.
Can they really do anything in these last 2 games with a bunch of backups and stuff to make you say that, hey man, these guys have done
actually, yes, JC, they can coach. That's what they get paid to do.
No, I'm saying
coach can win regardless.
Get
next
these
man up.
So now people are going to, if that's the case, and they get these guys to play and perform and miraculously beat a Denver Bronco team, people are going to say, well, how come they didn't do that when we had the starters and we were healthy with everybody? So, I think that's written already. They are who they are, as you always say. What did Bill Parcells say?
You are what your record says you are.
So, I think that's already been written. I don't think they're going to be able to do much. I
don't think so either. Trust me, I'm going under.
I do think they'll probably try to run the ball a little more, Aaron.
But we thought that last week. Well, hold on. We thought that last week.
It took 17 weeks.
Hey, no. We thought that last week. And hold on. And Damian Pierce ain't even going to see the field this week again.
Is he inactive?
I think I cut.
Damian Pierce got brought up.
Andy Reid said he's not playing. So, yeah, he's inactive.
Wow. But, I think when I say run the ball more, I'm thinking just to keep the clock moving, and try to shorten the game some, not so much as to try to, game plan strategically and score. But then on top of that,
Andy Reid, what a novel concept, JC. That it would take them being 6-9 for him to try. I might bring that up in a press conference.
So with this, the way that the Broncos blitz and get after the quarterback, how many picks do you think Oladokin is throwing?
I don't know, man. Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be many, because if he's smart, he is not throwing to a Pat Surtain side. That much I do know. So. And let's keep it real. As you mentioned before, the Broncos have something to play for. So this is more so. This game is more about the Broncos than it is the Chiefs, because the Broncos, coming off last week's loss to Jacksonville, which I think for them, it was kind of unexpected for them. Now they're in a dogfight for that number 1 seed. So they're gonna put everything out there to not only try to win, but to try to win with a show of force and make a step, because that's the other thing too. You want to come in the Arrowhead, especially based off of last year, losing how you lost last year.
Put the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, so
I think a lot of those guys will be out in the 4th quarter. They'll be over there sitting on the side. Yeah,
perhaps. Which because if I'm correct, I think the final game is against the Chargers. So. Yeah, if you can, but you want to put enough of a lead out there and make enough of a big embarrassing statement at Arrowhead that that people are going to take notice.
Here's what I'll say: you say it's not about the Chiefs. I think it's all about their tight end, Travis Kelce. This possibly, I think, and probably,
Last
in my
game.
opinion, being his last game at Arrowhead Stadium. Needs 46 more
He
yards.
better have more than one catch and 6
to
yards.
become the fastest tight end in NFL history to 13,000 receiving yards. 190th game this Thursday against.
How many yards does he need?
He needs 46. Tony Gonzalez did it in 232 games. Travis Kelce would do it at 190 if he can get 46 more yards. I think those in the know, behind the scenes know. I think if we have one plan left to execute on the whiteboard, if I'm Kansas City, is to make sure 87 gets all of it, as much as he can, of these last two games against the Broncos, against the Raiders, get him as many records as he wants, gives him as many targets as he wants. There's nobody else on offense that you really want to be targeting the ball to with Rashee Rice on injured reserve now. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco, maybe, but
you got Xavier. Hold on, you still got Xavier Worthy out there, you know.
And he's banged up. He's beat up.
Hollywood Brown.
Huh?
I was not saying. Yeah, exactly.
Huh? You went out. Yeah, I lost you there for a second. Man. I went static. But yeah, I think we'll know because we'll know if they're force feeding the ball to Travis. You know, if the goal is to get him catches and yards and get him that record, we'll know early on. And if that is the case,
off my slip.
Then if that is the case, then I think that they know that it's probably it for him.
JC, what's your prediction, man? Get us on out of here on Christmas Eve. What you think?
13 man, Merry Christmas. I'm taking Denver 24-9.
Damn, JC been listening to our show this week, because that's the same exact score I got, 24-9.
Is that hey, look at Aaron over there, man.
Hey, shout out to Harrison Bucket with the 3 field goals last week.
Exactly, right? That's all it's going to be. That's all it's going to be tomorrow. But yeah, what you got, Aaron? You taking the Chiefs?
I think the Chiefs score more than 9 points. I don't think they win the game, but I'll take them to cover. 13 and a half. I will take Kansas City to cover because the defense is not that bad. They're bad. And I think the Titans game showed us a bad side.
Titans put up what? How many points the Titans put up on them last week? Stop it, man. I think
the Chiefs are at home. I think maybe the young guy. I don't know. I don't know why I'm
not picking the Chiefs,
corners. I'll take them to cover.
Backup corners. Cortland Sutton going crazy. Bo Nix going crazy on them. Come on.
I'll put like this. The only way they cover is if for whatever reason Sean Payton, out of respect for Andy Reid, pulls them, goes up. Well, hell, I mean, even then, you still have to score. But if they go up 17 points or something, then perhaps he'll back off. But other than that, if I'm Denver, man, I'm scoring every time I got the ball.
So, Aaron, so you think Oladokin's gonna come out and just let it go on fire? Throw the ball.
No, I think they get a couple rushing touchdowns. I think they get. I mean, last week was embarrassing. If they really come out and lay another egg, I don't think the fan apathy is that bad.
This team is much better than Tennessee.
13 and a half. I'll take the points. That's a lot of points y'all laying out there. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? We got to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day together. We'll see y'all soon. Chief Squad Show is live right after the game. It's a home game. As soon as the game hits 000, tap in with us and we'll be talking the game. Any final thoughts, fellas? Y'all on the nice list this year?
Merry Christmas to everybody. Yeah.
Yep. Merry Christmas, everyone. And just pray for me because I have to suffer through that game tomorrow. Pre-game, the regular game, post-game, locker room.
It's the last one. You got to get us some good post-game, some locker room stuff, man. You got to. Aaron, look, he got to suck it up and go in the locker room, man. And
hold on. I was going to locker room, but if they lose, they ain't gonna want to talk. That's the problem. They're not going to want to talk after tomorrow.
You got to make them talk. It's the last game.
Hold on. Here's the thing. Full disclosure, because it's the last home game. A lot of the players who are either on injured reserve or their last couple of games that they're not going to be anymore. I'm going to have to go in there because I'm going to have to exchange contact information because a lot of them ain't going to be here after the Vegas game. So I'm going to have to make sure they got my contact information and vice versa.
So we're going to get some good locker room sound tomorrow, Aaron. I can't wait.
We'll see y'all on Christmas Day. Stay safe.
Merry Christmas, everyone.